Hey everyone, today we are breaking down the music legend himself, David Bowie. And if you're in a younger generation and don't know about David Bowie, please just here on YouTube, type in David Bowie and listen to his music. His voice, such a majestic voice. So R.I.P. to David Bowie, a legend. But he also had iconic hair. I'm going to take you on this hair journey. So here is somewhat of a classic type of fairly normal hairstyle. The length comes down to about right in through here, as you can see. A little bit of texture in through here, a kind of classic haircut, a side parting. This could be achieved by using my crafted matte pomade to give it that kind of lived-in look, or tidal wave. But we're starting with a kind of general, nice, classic, layered shape where all the hair just kind of comes down to the face like this. You can easily achieve that as long as you have layers throughout the top. Here we have David with his hair blonde. Now, obviously, if you want to get really light blonde hair, you need to either bleach it, get it professionally colored and lightened, but it's not an easy process, especially if you have darker hair. Here, I would say the length comes out about an inch and a half in length, no more than 2 inches, and it's all brushed back off the face. All angles up and blends in through the top. So I would say the top is probably 2.5, no more than 3 inches in length. And that's how you're able to get that volume and that texture. If it's too long on the top, you will not be able to achieve this type of volume and texture. If it's too short, you're not going to be able to have that hair moving around, that movement and that texture. So it needs to be the perfect length, which is usually about 2.5 inches or so, no more than 3. You can use a ton of products for this. I would say tidal wave once again. My one clay would be perfect for this. Going in and styling it and scrunching like this. That's how you get that texture, by scrunching. And you're going to be able to have this awesome type of hairstyle. Now we're getting into the classic Bowie type of like iconic historic looks. We're talking like Ziggy Stardust and all that kind of stuff when he really was doing some wild stuff. This is all layered throughout the top here. And I always wonder, I'm like, wow, how do you get this look? Simply by having layers throughout the top here. The length throughout the back obviously is longer than all of this. It's a hair length on the sides that comes to about right here, halfway down the ear. This is all much longer, but it all blends into the back right into here, and this is all just disconnected into here. The length throughout the sides, I would say probably once again that 1.5 inch look. Up and through here, we're looking at no more than 2 inches in length. This is a classic blow-dry hairstyle where you need to have tidal waves as a pre-styler. You're going to be taking the hands and using the blow-dryer. Yes, you need heat for this. You need a blow-dryer, and you're going to be lifting and lifting and lifting. It's really about getting that. This is really what fluffy hair was, right? This is true fluffy hair. Well, the hair is just really full of volume and lift. Then you can go into my talc styling powder or one of my locked hairsprays and spray it in and piece it out however you like. Another iconic Bowie look here. This is history right here when it comes to music and his performances. All slicked back throughout the sides. Basically the same hairstyle as before, that Ziggy Stardust look, where this is really just classic. All right. The difference is this is much more slicked back, and the top has maybe a bit more product in it. I would say, using some hairspray, not as much of the fluffy type of look as we saw the last one, and it's probably slightly longer on top as well. Once again, true fluffy hair, okay? All of this is layered throughout the top, pretty short in through here, then it gradually gets longer as we go down into the sides in through here. You can see the hair comes down to about right here, just past the neck area, and it's all actually shorter up top and longer. This was like a classic 70s, 80s, rock band type of hairstyle, but he made it so unique because he was just incredible as an artist back then. But very flat on top here, slightly rounded in through here, and it just goes from shorter up here to longer. Blow drying it is going to be your best friend, utilizing your hands just to get that classic look, and using my anti-static vent brush as you're blow drying it. Just blow dry with the brush, and you're going to get a similar type of look like he had. As I mentioned before, amazing hair. He just had incredible hair, ton of hair. A lot of looks he had are just slicked back off the face. So for this, I would say the sides are actually a bit longer to where it comes out to about right into here. We're looking at probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches in length, a severe side part in through here. And then all this hair is brushed over. The entire top probably comes down to about right in through here. And I would say is, again, a very balanced type of haircut, okay? It's a very balanced haircut. It's just depending on how you style it. Slick it back, you can use something like Power Cream, my crafted matte pomade, and the top is just kind of blow dried and brushed over into here and slightly pulled down right into at the front. Another example of that last photo, just a different angle. You can see all the layers in through here, all the layers throughout the sides here. If you want this type of hairstyle, just download. These are all images from Google that you can get online. Just download them to your phone, show a photo. This is something of more of a hairstylist haircut. A barber can do this. You just got to make sure the barber is very familiar with using scissors, which a lot of them are nowadays. The key is to show a photograph of the look that you want. Very similar to how Brad Pitt had his hair in Meet Joe Black. We've got a side parting, kind of an off-center side part right into here. The hair comes down to about right here throughout the front. So you need to have that longer. This is longer hair. This is more of a triangular shape to where it's shorter throughout here, right? And everything comes longer throughout the front. This is great for someone who's got a round face shape and you're trying to kind of close the face in, narrow it down a bit more into here. And this is probably lightly layered throughout here, just slightly covering the ear. But all of this hair really is cut down to about right into here, and the back is all layered. Really, really great haircut. Here he is with his wife, and this is now probably a longer hairstyle that, when he was growing his hair out. Once again, it's just simply growing it out. The hair throughout here is lightly layered down into this area, right? Down into this kind of area, and it's shorter into here. So even when you go back and watch the Kurt Cobain haircut breakdown, a lot of these haircuts end up being very similar to where it's a slight angle going from this area, right? Probably right in through the lip or the chin and just angle down slightly into here. Not a lot of layering in this area. That's why it's able to lay a bit flatter, and most of the layering is done down into this area. Here's a really awesome haircut. Now take note that there's no real parting in through here, right? There's no side part, no middle part. It just kind of goes back and then it goes this way and this way, which can be very easily achieved just by brushing your hair back and letting the hair fall. So brush it all straight back, and the hair may want to split in through here, but if you style it properly, use like my carbon comb, you'll be able to achieve this look. The front, once again, down just past the nose, it goes shorter into longer. That's why the back is a bit longer in through here. That's how you get these short pieces, is having a bit of a shorter front and having it all layering going down this way throughout the back and the sides. A great product for this, once again, would be like my crafted matte pomade or even tidal wave to achieve a look like this. Now talk about a classic hairstyle, right? This is when the 70s were in, where almost like the Ramones, where everything was all about having it really short and through here. Now pay close attention, a really, really choppy type of look right into the front. So a short choppy fringe, and it's all kind of blended right into here, and then this is where all the length comes in. So it's all about layering and balancing the top shape. Once again, a fairly square shape, which means it's brought straight up horizontally, the corners are left, and it's cut down this way. So a very square shape, which is going to allow you to leave the length throughout the corners. However, it's all still layered. The unique thing about this, once again, is the very kind of choppy textured fringe area. This is something where my tidal wave would come in, as well as using the diffuser that comes with my blow dryer. Another awesome hairstyle that he has here, the length comes down to about right in through the bottom of the nose, slightly more tapered now in through the sides here, showing the ear area. So this is something where if you bring this all back and you cut around the ear, you're going to basically be able to achieve this type of look. Not a whole lot of layering throughout the top here, just all brought back and cut around the ear, and then you'll be able to get that flowing type of feathered look. This is an off-center kind of light side parting into here, and then the hair just falls down forward to about right here. And if you are a Bowie fan, you've probably been saying, is he going to talk about Labyrinth? Most likely, you may not be wanting your hair like this. However, if you are going to be cosplaying this look, and if you have not seen the movie Labyrinth, you have to see Labyrinth. It's an amazing movie. His hair, right? Obviously, there's probably extensions in it and all sorts of stuff done. In theater, you can do anything with hair, but I would say some sort of clip-in extensions could work. The top, however, is all pretty much layered to about right here. So we're looking at, I would say, 2.5, 3 inches in length right throughout the front here. Hair comes down to about right here, and it's all just brought out and layered throughout here. Again, there's probably all sorts of extensions being used, but how you get this is adding a lot of texture to it by thinning out the mid shaft and through here to make sure you can get that piecey type of look. Hairspray and just piecing like this, but a classic Bowie look. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let's leave some comments. Whose haircut do you want me to break down next? I mean, there's so many people. I could be doing these videos for the next 10 years straight. So that's all I really want to focus on. I enjoy doing these. If you want to purchase any of my products, use code YouTube20. That's YouTube20 at shop.thesalonguy.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.